I'm Ben Pugh, and you're listening to Impact Parenting with Perspective. This podcast is all about helping parents manage the mental and emotional drama that comes with parenting teens so they can focus on what's most important, building rock solid relationships and having a powerful impact on their teen's life. Join me each week as I dive into real tools to help you and your teen turn struggles into strengths. All right, guys, welcome back to the podcast. Thank you for joining us. Today, we are going to be talking about something that I hear all the time. Maybe I don't technically hear them. I'm a part of some parenting groups on Facebook, and one of the questions that always comes up is, how can we make our teens be more confident? And one of the things that I thought would be helpful is if you as a parent understood some of the things that you might be doing that hurt your teen's confidence. And I'll be honest, I do some of these things sometimes too. So this is a good reminder for me. But today we're mainly going to be talking about things that you might be doing as a parent that will hurt your teen's confidence. And we'll talk about some of the things that you can be doing to help improve your teen's confidence. Before we dive all the way in, I would like to invite you, if you are enjoying these podcasts, in the whatever app you're listening to your podcasts, you can just click the text me button and you can send me a text and you can be like, Ben, my kid is such a knucklehead. Help me. I'll answer any question that you have on this podcast, and Courtney will help me answer to make sure that it's a good, decent answer, not any of the fluff. But so let's go ahead. Let's dive into things that hurt your teen's confidence. And I narrowed this down to three of the biggest ones that I see all the time. Courtney, feel free to add any that you might think of. But the first one is fixing your teen's problems for them. Courtney, do you ever see parents try and fix all of their teens' problems?
All the time.
Do you ever do that?
Sometimes I still do, and I really used to before. But yeah, sometimes I still catch myself doing it. Absolutely.
Why do you think that would have a negative impact on a teen's confidence?
Because subconsciously or consciously, anyway, it tells them, it sends the message that you don't have the confidence in them to resolve it on their own, right?
Yeah. Yeah. I love that little subconscious, like when you can be aware of subconsciously the message that you're sending your teen. One of the things that I think is important to remember, if you're trying to fix all of your teen's problems, it's probably because subconsciously you don't think your teen is capable of handling that.
Mm-hmm.
And you and your teen are herd animals. You play off of each other all the time. And your teen is going to pick up that little subconscious belief that you have that, man, you can't do this. I better do it for you. And then they believe that, and that becomes their subconscious belief. Also, if you're in the habit of fixing your teen's problems, your teen is not in the habit of fixing their own problems. And one of the things that I've learned in coaching high school football, sometimes kids get injured and you have to put someone in that doesn't have anywhere near the experience. And I can put in, like, say I have my starting player who's very athletic, very physically, like, he's strong, he's talented, he's athletic. If he goes down, his backup might be just as athletic, might be just as strong. In fact, I've had this happen where the backup is faster, stronger, but they don't have the confidence because they don't have the same amount of reps. Anytime you as a parent are fixing your teen's problems for them, you are depriving them of necessary reps and necessary experience that help build your teen's confidence. Any thoughts on that?
I think that you're spot on. It's very accurate.
So here's an experience. The nice thing when I share examples, like I'm working with a handful of parents, so I can think of three right now dealing with the same problem. So I can share you an example. All three of them are probably going to think, oh gosh, Ben's talking about me. Well, guess what? I am, but not just you, also the other two.
Mm-hmm.
But like parents that are struggling with their teens refusing to go to school and calling and excusing their kid from school or making up excuses so that they don't have to deal with court or with the truancy officer at school. This is you fixing your teen's problem for them. You're like, no, no, you can stay home from school. You can pretend to be sick. I'll fix it for you. No. If your teen doesn't want to go to school, and like one of the moms is like, I can't pick him up and physically carry him into the school. Yeah, awesome. Just let him stay home from school, but also let him deal with the consequences. Don't bail him out. Don't fix his problem for him. The second thing that you might be doing, and this one, this was an eye opener for me when I started teaching the difference between the victim mentality versus the hero mentality. One of the things that I teach when it comes to the victim mentality is that there's little warnings to help you know when you're in the victim mentality. And I just rattle these off like nothing. I'm like, yeah, anytime you're criticizing or complaining or comparing, and I'm talking about like different things, and I'm like, oh my goodness, I criticized my son. I was complaining about it. Like I was in the victim mentality. One of the things that will really hurt your teen's confidence is if you criticize your teen, if you complain about your teen. Like parents do this all the time. Like, why would you do that? Like they just complain about their teen to their teen. And then the other thing is comparing your teen to others. Whether you're comparing your teen to an older sibling, this is what happened to me all the time when I was growing up, but my parents would compare me to my younger sibling. They'd be like, Ben, why can't you be as smart as Jake? Like, what's wrong with you? And I don't know. That will make your teen's confidence plummet. Like,
Yeah.
go ahead. Any ideas on this, Courtney?
No, when you were talking about the teens not wanting to go to school, that's a tough one. And it would be hard to let them struggle and deal with that on their own. But I think it's necessary for them to see that there's consequences for their actions. And as long as we're protecting them and making excuses, yeah, that would be tough. I hadn't even thought about what I would do in a situation like that.
Yeah.
But making excuses definitely is not the answer.
Yeah. What about criticizing your teen? Have you ever been guilty of that?
Yeah, I'm sure. Yes.
Or
Yeah.
comparing your teen to other teens?
Yeah. That still probably happens. I try to be mindful of it, but I mean, that just, it can't make them feel good, right? If someone was to compare us to somebody else, like, oh, well, so and so's husband does this, or so and so's wife,
Yeah.
cooks every single night. It's like, are you trying to make me feel bad? So
Yeah.
that's what we're doing to our teens. Yeah.
Yeah. And here's one of the crazy things. I have heard parents compare their teens to my teens that they don't even know. Like, specifically, I teach this concept of having empowering conversations. And it comes really natural to me because I have no filter. I love to ask people questions. And when my teens are being knuckleheads, I'll ask them questions and I'll ask, like, what do I not understand? Like, and my teens do a pretty good job. They converse with me, they talk with me. And as I taught this concept of empowering conversations, and the following week, the parents like, I tried that and it didn't work with my teen. And I told my teen, like, Ben's teens respond to him. And like, don't even compare your teen to my teens. My teens are freaking knuckleheads sometimes. Like, just last night at the dinner table, like, why won't you eat the freaking food that your mom like? My kids aren't perfect. Don't compare your teens to any other teen because it's really hard on their confidence. And one of the things that I taught early on in my coaching journey was the necessity to connect with your teen where they are as they are. And
Hmm.
a lot of parents make the mistake of trying to connect with this mythical version of their teen that's perfect. And anytime you're trying to connect with your teenager, like the perfect version of themselves, it doesn't really exist. It's damaging to their self confidence because subconsciously they're interpreting that to mean I'm not good enough as I am. There's something wrong with me. I should be more like something else. And the thing is, if we can get teens to believe in themselves, then they're more confident when it comes to school or sports or whatever else that might be. Um, Courtney, anything you want to add to number
Yeah.
three?
When it comes to like when they were comparing their teens to yours and not having conversations and answer questions like yours do, that's something that your teenagers have grown up with. That's something that they've known and that they've learned to do. A lot of teenagers don't know how to communicate like that. But I feel like if we as parents continue to be consistent in how we show up and ask those questions and like, tell me
Uh,
something that I don't understand, then maybe your teen can get to that place. But right now they just don't know. And they're not going to say, I don't, well, they probably will say, I don't know, because that's a lot of
but they
answers.
won't even know what they don't know.
Right. Yeah. So I think as long as us as parents continue to show up and do the things that we would eventually like to see, it will eventually happen. But your boys didn't just start answering questions like the first time you asked. I mean, they probably know that's the path of least resistance to answer your questions at this point.
No, they do it out of complete love and respect for their favorite father.
Yeah.
My poor kids, by the way, I specifically remember a time where I was like asking one of my foster teenagers questions. And I remember my oldest, he's probably 7 or 8 at this time, like very eager to please. And like I'm asking my foster son questions, who's like 15, 16, 17, I don't know, somewhere in that age range. And he gives the standard teenage response, I don't know. And then my then 7-ish-year-old oldest son chimes in, is like, oh, blah, 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 and just answers the question. And I think they were brainwashed at a young age. Well, they just saw the conversations because we had to do it as foster parents. And now as teenagers, they do it really well. But the funny thing is, last year, so I remember during football season, one of the coaches called out my son and completely threw him under the bus. And my son called out the coach and completely threw him under the bus. And the coach was very upset. And I'm like, bro, take responsibility. Like, you're demanding that he take responsibility. Why is it not fair that he demand that you take responsibility? Like,
Right.
basically, the coach had put him in, didn't tell him to play, didn't tell him anything. And then when he didn't do it right, yelled at him. And he's like, coach, you didn't tell me to play. I was trying to ask and you pushed me out onto the field. So I was just there. And the cool thing is, I love that my kids are willing to stand up for themselves.
Hmm.
And the coach afterward was like, dude, I would have never talked to one of my coaches that way. And I'm like, bro, I'm kind of happy that my coach is willing to talk to you, or that my teen is willing to talk to a coach that way. Like,
Hmm.
stick up for yourself. Anyways, so let's move on to the last one. And then I'll give you a few tips to help you when it comes to boosting your teen's confidence. But one of the things that will hurt your teen's confidence is trying to control your teen's model. Now, if you're new to the podcast, you might be like, yeah, but Ben, my teen doesn't have a supermodel. Like, can't even get a girlfriend. How's he going to have a model? No, the model that we're talking about, I love having like my corny dad type jokes because I can just see Courtney cringing on the other side. But, anyways, if you don't know what the self coaching model is, basically it's this framework that talks about how your circumstances are outside of your control. You have thoughts about how you think about the circumstance. Your thoughts create your feelings fuel your actions, and then your actions create your results. One of the biggest mistakes that I see parents making, and I'm guilty of this too, but parents will often try to control their teens' model. And any amount, like when you control things that should be in your teens' control, that will have a negative effect on your teens' confidence. And for me, if I'm arguing with my teen, that is an indicator that's 100% accurate that lets me know that I'm trying to control something in my teen's model. If I'm arguing with my teen about politics, I'm trying to change how he thinks. If I'm arguing about whether or not he should unload and load the dishwasher without being asked, I'm trying to change his behavior. If I'm telling my teen, like, stop whining, stop being grumpy, I'm trying to control their feelings. And anytime you're trying to control something that should be within your teen's control, that will have negative impact on your teen's confidence. Courtney, anything you want to add to that?
There's just something that struck a nerve with me with unloading the dishwasher without being asked. Like,
It's a problem.
it's a fight at my house, and it doesn't so much come from me, but like I forget stuff all the time. And as a teenager, they're so distracted by all this other stuff. Like I'm not surprised that, they forget to do their things, their chores, unload the dishwasher. Um, and I've tried to relay the message to my other half, like maybe just ask them, be like, hey, can you unload the dishwasher? Instead of making it a big deal or being like, oh, we shouldn't have to tell you. Like just simply ask and then let him stomp his feet downstairs to unload the dishwasher. And I mean, I don't know, because I forget. My husband forgets. Like, why do we expect perfection from them and that they're not ever going to forget? And they have a lot
Yeah.
going on too, you know? I don't
Yeah,
know.
just the other day I was talking to someone. We expect our teens to be way more mature and way more adult like than we were as teenagers. Like, I feel
Mhm.
like we've completely forgotten what it's like to be a teenager. So I'm glad you brought that up.
Yeah. Yeah.
Let's talk about a couple of things that you can do to boost your teen's confidence. I'll try and be anchored in things that you can control as a parent. Courtney, be my watchdog. If I stray into the realm of things out of a parent's control, call me out.
Okay.
Here's the most impactful thing: teens and parents are herd animals, whether you like it or not. Whether your teen completely hates you and wants nothing to do with you, or if they think you're the most awesome human being on the planet, they're still a herd animal. They're playing off of you, they're taking your lead. If you want your teen to have more confidence, ask yourself, how can I be the change that I want to see in my teen? If you want your teen to be more confident, likely you could have more confidence in your teen. There's a possibility that you could have more confidence in yourself, and
Yes.
then that alone will help boost your teen's confidence. Courtney, what are your thoughts on that?
Yeah. I remember way back when we first started talking, we were talking about building confidence in the teens, but it starts with us and our confidence and the confidence that we emulate. They learn from somebody. So if we're more confident, and who we are and the things we do, like our teens will see that, and it might not show right away, but they're watching and they're learning. Um, but I totally agree that if we have more confidence in our teens, if we show them that we believe that they can do it and handle it, then they'll feel better and more confident.
Yeah, yeah, really good. The other thing, so we talked about how one of the things that hurts your teen's confidence is fixing their problems for them. Get really good at empowering your teen to fix their own problems. And for some parents, this means getting out of the way and allowing your teen to mess something up and create a problem, and then staying out of the way and letting them fix the problem.
Hmm.
That's a game changer. by the way, it can be scary. My oldest, he's 18 now, which he loves to remind me. Anytime I'm like, dude, you need to unload and load the dishwasher. He's like, I'm 18. Like, I shouldn't. He's going to be in for a rude awakening when he has to wash dishes at a dorm. But, anyways, the thing is, when he started fixing his own problems, like, he started realizing, oh, I can do this on my own. I can do this. Like, half the packages that come to our house from Amazon are because my teen does his own thing. He's got to fix his car. He buys new shoes, like whatever. It can be a little scary to let go of all of that control. But man, when you do it, it will empower your team. They will feel more confident. And the other thing, how you talk about your team is really important. And we live in a very negative culture right now. Like, people think it's like, well, Donald Trump's the president. Now everyone's critical. No, I remember growing up being like, Bill Clinton's the worst human being ever. And then George Bush, he's ruined it. Like, we just have a habit of just fixating on the negative, and we're all herd animals. It's natural. Don't let that habit sink into your conversations with your teen or about your teen. And I have to be really careful of this. There's one thing that gets me super riled up and super negative. And most people are thinking, oh, it's probably politics. No, I don't even care about politics. It's freaking high school basketball. I get so negative and I start criticizing the ref. I complain about the coaches. And then we go home and I'm complaining to my kid and I'm complaining about my kid. Like, oh, if you wouldn't have turned the ball over 14 times, like, be careful. Be careful about how you talk to them and about them. If you can find a way, anytime you catch yourself criticizing, complaining, comparing, make a shift and find something that you can compliment your team on. It's a powerful shift, and that's something that will help improve your team's confidence. Courtney, what are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, no, I agree with everything you said. Sorry, it's the wind.
Awesome. Yeah. Courtney's house is about to blow away and probably land on some poor witch somewhere in Oz.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Well, guys, this podcast, I hope it's helpful. If you're guilty of any of these things that hurt your teen's confidence, do not feel bad. Like, Courtney and I are not here to be like, shame on you. Come on, parent better.
Right.
No, we've made the same mistakes.
And
We're
still
just
do.
here. Yeah, yeah, we still do. We're just here to help you gain some awareness so that you can be more conscious and more intentional. And if you're one of the parents, like all the parents that I see in these chat groups that are like, how do I help my teen with his confidence? Well, now you know. We've helped you. So
be confident in him or her.
Yeah, exactly. And yourself. Okay. Well, let's go ahead. We'll go ahead and end this podcast. Thank you for being here. If you've enjoyed this podcast, if you found it helpful, please share it with any friends that you have. This helps me help them. A lot of people don't know about my podcast because they don't know. And you could be the one that really helps them better connect with their team. So if you've enjoyed it, pass it along. Okay, with that, we'll see you guys next week.